Hey everybody, it's your old pal Chuck, and I'm back with another review. And today we're taking a look at from the Transformers Cyberverse Battle for Cybertron subline. This is the Sharkticon's Attack set. This is not a store exclusive, as far as I know, and retails for around $29. I got this set off of eBay, so there's that. What you do get in the set is a repaint of the Action Attacker, a one-step changer Hot Rod, and three what I would call Titan Changer, the mini Titan Changer Sharkticons, which as of right now, this is the only way to get the Sharkticons. You have two that are painted green like this, they're in the back there, and then one painted orange. Now, I had just seen the episode of Cyberverse where they talk about the Sharkticons, and apparently the different colors represent different gangs. If you're familiar with the movie musical called West Side Story, Sharks and Fins, and it's a real takeoff of that. So each one, I think it's Sharks, Fins, Tails are the three gangs. I am not sure if different packs will have differently painted Sharkticons. That I don't know, so that's a possibility. But we're going to start the review taking a look at the one-step Hot Rod and how it compares to the regular retail release. For clarity's sake, let me just mention that the black repaint of Hot Rod is referred to on its packaging as Stealth Force, while the regular retail release is really just called Autobot Hot Rod, but it's sometimes referred to as Fusion Flame Hot Rod due to the weapon gimmick, which, by the way, is also mentioned on the box of the set with the Stealth Force Hot Rod. Now, I believe the black repaint is an homage to the now 20-year-old eHobby exclusive Dark Rodimus, which was a repaint of the then just reissued from the Transformers Collection book box series Hot Rod figure, which was meant to be a corrupted Decepticon clone of Hot Rod. If I remember that correctly, it's been 20 years. I never actually owned the figure. It was very nice, and I actually do like the black coloring. Now, what's interesting is between these two figures, they have the same amount of paint details and paint deco. It's just certain things are painted, certain things aren't. For example, as you can see back here by the fins, on the black version you have those little yellow triangles painted in, where here on the retail Hot Rod they're not. But if I were to turn the figure sideways, you would see that these side vents, the exhausts, which would also be the blasters for, classic Hot Rod fans, are painted, while here they're not. So it's not like you're getting with the black deco a better painted figure. You're just getting a differently painted figure. Maybe someday we'll get a version of this figure that it has all the paint details done in. I mean, because I'm looking here and there are still like these back panels here that aren't painted in at all. Now, transformation, if you remember, is very simple. Now, it's not really a one-step changer, and in fact, the instructions for this guy mention 4 steps, which is pretty much closer, but just grab that rear section, rotate it around, and Hot Rod will pop out. Let me bring the camera up a little, and then just go ahead and flip out the saw blade, just like that. Now, unfortunately, in what I can only say is due to the way it's packaged, the figure is packaged and strapped down, the spring, which is I will show you in robot mode, isn't as tight, and this figure is a lot floppier. See, right there's that spring, and it just doesn't feel pop open and stay open as well as it could. Here in robot mode, you do see that the flame deco is still painted, but on the black version you have some highlights picked out on the calves, whereas on the retail version, you have the highlights picked out on the knees. Really going back into robot mode is where you'll see the difference with the tightness of the spring, because the instructions even show you having to help push the joints back into place. And as you can see right here, the arms and the top really didn't come down. That's a little disappointing because it is like, this is one of the nicer one-step transformations with this rotation gimmick. And as you see on the retail hot rod, it does come together quite nicely. But let's also be honest, you're really not here for the one-step hot rod. You're here for the Sharkticons. So we'll get to those figures right now. Okay, as I mentioned, I think these Sharkticons best fit in the tiny turbo changers class. I might have called them Titan turbo changers. They're tiny turbo changers. Those are those new blind bagged mini micro transforming figures that are, I think they've been around since The Last Night, maybe the Bumblebee movie. Well, they featured, like, movie figures from Robots in Disguise, I should say characters, and now figures from the Bumblebee movie and the Cyberverse series. So I think that's what the size class is. And these guys are small. Very limited articulation. Besides the transformation joints, really the only thing movable here are these back legs, which will be the arms in robot mode. But here's the orangey yellow guy. Unfortunately, I don't remember which gang had which color. I'm not even sure if I got the gang colors right. And here's the green guy, and that one is also a green guy. Now, let me take two of these out so we can focus on the main one. Transformation is very simple, but it has a nice little unique step to it. What you want to do is pull up right here from these nubs, and you're going to rotate the whole head, back, and tail section around. It is a little tight. I will freely admit, the clearance is not as wonderful as I would hope it to be, and it doesn't help having adult hands. Now, when you're going to push this down, there is a little groove right underneath there that this will sit into place, and then you can just bring the jaw down all the way, and that will open up the head. And now the Sharkticon's arms in shark mode have become its feet, and while the back legs have become the fists for robot mode. And you can even plug in little accessories. You have some of the old Cyberverse accessories. But there you go. That's the transformation for that. And yeah, like I said, it's not very articulated, but there is not a lot of paint detail on it. There is a small Decepticon logo, because if it's a bad guy, it has to be a Decepticon. Can't confuse the younger kiddies. We went through that way back with the Cybertron series. But I kind of dig it. So let's pause, and we'll come back with my final thoughts. Okay, so I have mixed feelings on this set. I was actually looking forward to it because I really like that one-step hot rod, and the black deco looks really nice. But unfortunately, and maybe it's just mine, the fact that the figure is really has a very loose with the transformation, the joints aren't as tight as it could be, kind of takes it down a couple pegs. And really, if you're the general public are going to be buying this set for the 3 Sharkticons, and for $29, which I've been told is the retail price for these sets, I'm a little hesitant to recommend them. I think at $20 to $25, it's a little bit better of a price. I do hope we get like some single-packed Sharkticons in the tiny turbo changers line, because to troop build these, you end up with a lot of these extra hot rods, and yeah, there's no way you're going to be able to move them or do anything with them. Also, I was a little disappointed because if you watch the show, Hot Rod and Bumblebee end up joining the various gangs of Sharkticons, and they take on some of the tribal tattoos that the Sharkticons have. So while I think it's nice to have this black hot rod, which, again, could be from an early draft of the script, I think to have a hot rod in its traditional red color, but with the tribal painting on it, would have been a better repaint to include in this set. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning, these are not store exclusives. I know they're showing up in Target. I think I've heard of people finding them in Walmart. I don't know about online retailers. I got mine off of eBay. If you're looking for a recommendation between this and the Quintessence set, I think this gives you the better overall value, as you do get some new figures out of it that can transform. Instead of, with the Quintessence set, you have two repacks with new heads and a Quintessence that can just spin its head around. But then again, if you have a connection to the Quintessence as a character group, you might be into that set more. So ultimately, as always, the choice is yours. This is your old pal Chuck, Hot Rod, and the Sharkticons. We will see you next time.